Elise Boulieris here from Ray White Leaders in Wellington, and I'm joined by Scott Ledger from Team Ledger at Harcourts. We're wanting to just have a bit of a conversation here today that we can share with you about what we're doing personally during this COVID-19 lockdown, but also share with you what you could also be doing, and you may find this helpful. So Scott, what have you been up to?
To be completely honest, not a hell of a lot other than phone calls and a little bit of social media back and forth. This is the first time I've put a suit on in over 2 weeks, which is great. Feels a little bit weird, but it's trying to get back into that routine, because I think it is a situation that we're in that is completely unprecedented, which they keep saying online and in the media. Nobody really knows 100% what's happening, but REINZ and Yipper have asked us to have a bit of a chat to see what we're doing, to then see if that's going to motivate some other people, give people ideas as to what to do during this lockdown period. So I suppose, what have you been up to? You've got a lot to juggle in your household, don't you?
I do. So look, in our bubble, at any given time, I could be mum, I could be teacher, I could be real estate agent, depending on how much I want to do it on any given day. I guess the key thing is about just keeping a routine. As a mum, I need to do that anyway, and it's really important with real estate as well. But more than ever, a routine is really important. The first 2 weeks, I was really strict about that. But what I found is a good routine's just about having exercise, mentally and physically. I'm sure you're doing that as well, Scott.
Yeah,
it's really important.
Yeah, it is. The routine, and that was sort of day one when I jumped up and this all started happening. I went, right, routine's going to be key to keeping mentally not freaking out. So it was waking up, making the bed with Shah or on my own, and then her coming in and remaking it because I don't make it well enough. It was going for walks, runs, a little bit of exercise here and there. The actual business part that I've been doing has been really minimal. Because of the way that lockdown obviously works, and agents will know this, and some agents are operating differently to others than the ones that I've spoken to, but most of us, 90%-ish, can't do any business. No transactions can happen. You can't get a builder's report done. You can't get a valuation done. You can't get, you can't physically show someone the house. So unless the property was already on the market, or when you've got the photos and the videos, there's no real contracts going back and forth. I think in the first week, we sold 1.5 odd million in property, but that was already in contract prior to lockdown, or people had seen the properties prior to lockdown and then put offers in. I've got people putting offers together at the moment subject to lockdown coming off and then being able to look at it and do things like that, but you can't really do anything then. And that paperwork doesn't take you all day, so I'm maybe spending an hour, 2 hours max, absolute max, sort of either chatting to people, answering phone calls, answering inquiries and emails, and that's about it. And the rest of it's almost like holiday.
It is.
Are you finding that?
And look, you've nailed it on the head. Absolutely. It's just dabbling in it every day, and that's the key thing. It is a time to rest. A lot of us probably found in the lead up that momentum was kind of peaking with business. So it's a good time to just be able to reset. And everyone resets differently, but there are certainly things we can be doing to dabble in real estate and stay relevant and so on. I think that R word there, the relevant, is the number one that I've been thinking of, as well as just remaining relevant to your clients, your customers, and the general public. And how do you do that when you're not allowed to go and knock on doors or deliver DLEs or anything like that? And I think the number one answer there, which we were probably alluding to, is social media, which is where you're most likely seeing this. So what are you doing social-wise? I've seen a few Instagram posts of yours, and your workspace looks incredibly clean and organised and amazing. This side of the screen. Yeah, so I'm really lucky. I do have a designated workspace that I can use, and that's really important because it keeps you focused. So creating an environment that keeps you focused, so that you can connect with others in it. Some will be using the dining table, the bedroom, depending on who's in your bubble and what their needs are. But the key thing is environment and the space that you use. Online content. So there's a few things, and I've made some notes here. Functional. So that could be current listings that you have on pre-lockdown, results. I know Ray White have run a few virtual auctions. in Auckland and Australia, and some really good transactions happening there. So putting out good news stories is really helpful. Just to dabble in the real estate side of things, information about COVID-19. And there's so much of it coming left, right, and centre. It's a bit of a overload.
It is. And I sort of looked at it and in the beginning went, yep, let's get a bit of this information out there. I did a little video, which was a little bit taking the piss, how to not shake hands at an open home and things like that. That video went live like 3 days before the lockdown was announced. And I was like, well, open homes are over now. I sort of take the approach of there's so much information about COVID-19 and what's happening and who's doing what, to sort of leave it to the main news people. Let New Zealand Herald do all of that. Let the Ministry of Health put that stuff out. If it's absolutely relevant and particular to your business, so if it's a real estate related article, go for gold. But I think all the extra stuff, people are seeing it anyway, and it's almost becoming, especially on a mental side of things, an overload of all you can see on Facebook and Instagram at the moment is COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. It's like I can't be bothered with it anymore. Yeah. If that makes sense. Mentally, it's like I want to see something else. So I'm looking into content down the other side of the track, which I've seen some people actually within your office, Lance, is it? Putting out some
Lance William.
That's the one. Putting out some fantastic information about real estate in general. So how to sign a sale and purchase agreement, how to look into a title. He's got his little daughter there and it's very cute and she has little diva moments. It's funny to watch and it just sort of grounds him and creates him. He's suddenly very human and very personable. And I think that's going to be huge for his audience. And that's the sort of content that we've been looking into doing, but haven't released yet and things like that. So it's just informational stuff that your clients and people that are watching you on social are going to go, hey, that's real estate. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Rather than COVID-19, do you want to sell your house online? It's like,
absolutely. Yeah, so Lance is doing a very good job at being real. And that's the thing, and key takeaway from today is just connecting with people and doing it in a way that's natural to you. So there's no right or wrong way right now, but it's really about people and community as well. Whether you can share something from your community, engage with people, it's really important and will also be beneficial at the other end.
Correct. And I think that's the biggest part of all of this is that there is another end. We will come out the other side of this. This is not the end of the world. The sun rose again this morning. We are going to be fine come the end of it. Yes, there are going to be a lot of people and businesses affected by this. I can foresee, especially within real estate, there's going to be a lot of real estate agents that leave the industry because they just can't take this sort of a hit for this sort of a period of time. But come out the other end of this, I know my team and we've personally got over a dozen properties listed waiting for lockdown to finish. The owners have gone and taken their own photos and sent that to us. We're sending that out to our database. So we're still doing a bit of real estate work and saying, hey, look, these are the vendors' photos. We haven't had professional photos done, so take it as it is. But that's still generating inquiry. And the feedback I'm getting from buyers at the moment is they still want to buy, they just can't. And I think that with the stock levels, looking at realestate.co.nz's report from March, Wellington's down 20.8% in terms of numbers of property that were listed. And then as a relation to that, we're 26.1% down on total stock. So supply is down. Makes sense. We can't list things, so supply is down. As long as the demand doesn't phenomenally drop to meet that, we're still going to have a supply and demand deficit. We're still going to see prices rising. Absolutely.
You nailed it on the head. So one of the key things agents can be doing is talking to people, as we said, but who? So anyone in your pipeline that's coming on has indicated in the past that they're considering a real estate transaction, give them a call. Now is the best time to call and not talk about real estate. So, hey, how's things in your bubble? And naturally the conversation will lead to the market and being able to show your expertise and provide value, because everyone wants to know what's going to be happening with house prices, whether they are or aren't considering a move. Correct. So talking to your pipeline, talking to buyers, it's about creating those relationships and making transactions happen, whether they can now or when this lockdown does lift. So knowing where people sit and so on. And not everyone's going to be in the same position, unfortunately, due to job losses. Dips in KiwiSaver as well are going to really affect whether our first home buyers will be able to now transact. So just understanding what people need right now is huge.
Yeah, and people are naturally curious about it. I was on the breeze yesterday having a bit of a chat to Steve and Kath because they were asking what's happening with real estate, what's going on. We're going for walks and seeing all these sold signs, or not sold signs, for sale signs, sold signs. What's going on? So people want to know. So if you are calling your database or calling people that you know within your professional bubble, they are going to naturally lead that conversation towards what's going to happen after this. And then you can just pop the question out there and go, well, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think your property is going to be worth? And then that can lead into things as it goes through. But I think number one across the board, which is I'm saying to my team, is just be empathetic. This is completely weird. It's a very odd state to be in. Nobody really knows how to do this properly. I've seen a lot of people saying lockdown time is like airport time. You can have a drink at 9 o'clock in the morning if you like. I've only done that once or twice. It's okay. But just having conversations with people to remain relevant is going to be key for
100%.
your business to survive out the other side of this.
Yeah, and what you would have found is previously when you're talking to buyers, sellers, cold calling, you had a small window to try and get what you wanted out of the conversation.
Yep.
Now you're spending maybe 10, 15, even 20 minutes on one call. So you're making fewer calls. However, the results are bigger. They're, putting in the groundwork for later.
Quality over quantity. And we had a chat yesterday with our Harcourts group for the team group out there, and our CEO, Elliot, and Marty was saying, look, we don't want you going in there and spending 40 hours a week working during this, because you're going to burn yourself out. And you're not going to see a hell of a lot of fruit for your labor. If you're sitting there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, just calling, trying to put content out, emailing everybody, there's going to be a lot of it that just falls through the cracks, and nobody's going to really want to respond to it, because there's other bigger things in people's worlds at the moment. There's a lot of people that are freaked out to go to the supermarket, or they can't get to the supermarket. There's all these things going around, and for a lot of people, real estate's the last thing on their mind. So work smarter, not harder in this period. Work 2-3 hours, make the key calls to your key clients, make sure they're doing all right, lead the conversation in such a way that it's empathetic and you're just seeing how they're going. But don't be disheartened if you call someone and they're just like, look, I don't want to talk about real estate. This is not my time, because my team have had that. A number of calls, they call up and they go, how dare you call me about real estate right now? This is not what I'm thinking about. Get the hell off the phone type deal. And it's like, okay, you're going to have that. But I think if you've been in real estate for a little while, you're used to that kind of a conversation anyway.
Absolutely. And it's just having another person at the end of the phone. So it's not in vain. So make the calls, because you will benefit from it down the track. If you're not somebody who wants to be picking up the phone right now, doesn't feel that it's for you, other things that we could be doing as agents is training. I know that the different agencies will be putting out their own training and setting up one-on-ones and have their own plan. But the REINZ has a 10% discount at the moment for verifiable training. You could be doing your non-verifiable. And it's just a good time to, again, focus on that, because normally in our day-to-day lives, training's the last thing that sort of happens just before the rush.
Right before the end of the year, you get that training done. And I suppose, and it's different ways of training. I know I do a lot of reaching out to other agents that have either been in it longer than I have or are really successful and things like that, just asking questions and calling people. And I suppose, and I'll throw you out here if you want to be involved with it, if you want to give us a call, you know where our details are. We're here to help, especially the younger people in real estate, who may have only been doing this for a little bit of time, to go just to have a chat. Somebody else to talk to that's not your sales manager, who's not your normal trainer, because it's always good to hear another voice. And hey, you might take 5 cents from myself or yourself that may change your business slightly. Happy to have a chat if you're interested in sort of that. And as I say, a different voice is always helpful. 100%.
We're here to help each other, and it's strength in numbers. Nobody knows everything, and everyone's doing things differently. So if we can help each other, it's strength to the industry. So our details are online. And reach out, please do.
Yeah, 100%.